you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Yeah, and we had some, from the Bluebeam stuff to address today from that MEP perspective, and we're going to jump into it. Here's kind of our agenda, main heading topics that I am sticking within as I demo all of my little fun features as we go throughout today. So firstly, kind of that standardizing the markups and workflow, as well as the document sets. We'll look into some of the cloud features, as well as just regular native Bluebeam, if you didn't use it in the cloud. Those features that exist there in Bluebeam to bridge between that office and field communication. So putting in some comments, punch lists, right there on the plans, out in the field, putting in some detailed comments, replying to issues out in the field, all that kind of stuff, putting in images, captures, all of that kind of thing. We could do all of that, and we're gonna go through some of that. We're gonna dive a little deeper in on those tool sets. We'll fly over them at first, then we'll come back, and we'll dive in a little deeper and look at using some of those for estimating and customizing those so we can get some good quantity takeoff, QTOs, and all of that fun stuff. So we also have some other tools we can use in there for QA, QC, and just all of your reviewing and markup stuff. All right. We'll also get in there and play with, making sure that they're well organized and searchable PDFs, and we'll play with a lot of those search features as we go as well, especially when we're doing those quantity takeoffs, show you how to search for some things and take advantage of that. And lastly, making sure that we're, automating things wherever we can along the way, and always looking for automated workflows rather than, just that manual rinse, repeat, click this, click that, and do that over and over again. All right. My name is Alan Bliss. I'm application expert here at Imagineit. I have been in mostly the civil field, had some stints in environmental and geotech, and know my way around on, various different verticals as well, and Revit, architecture, and MEP, and all of that. I've been a CAD manager, GIS manager roles, like in the last decade or so, for some big and small firms, mostly around San Diego and Southern California. And most recently, in the past few years, been here in the Autodesk Partner Channel doing trainings and custom builds and templates and all that kind of fun stuff on all of our civil 3D Autodesk products, Revit, and all of that. Love doing this stuff, and a lot of training as well. So if you like my style, always available for training engagements as well. You can always reach out and request me. Okay, we got demo time. Rather than go, okay, here's the feature and talk about it on PowerPoint, let's just jump into it, shall we? All right. Let me get my file in. All right. So I'm going to get started with might as well show you my Windows Explorer. Okay, so I've got a series of MEP plans. These are all one-sheeters that I've got that came in from an AutoCAD. These are all from AutoCAD. And so let's throw on the first sheet here. All right. So I got that first sheet in there, and I can see that here on my thumbnail view. Just one sheet in here. I can see it down here, page 1 of 1. All right, so let's look at how quickly we can take that whole sheet set, which I have as individual sheets, one-pagers as their own PDF, how I can quickly combine that and make that a set. There's lots of ways you could do it, but I'll show you a real fun, easy, graphical drag and drop way. We can just drag and drop those from your Windows Explorer type environment. Here's all my other sheets. I can quickly just grab and look where it's going to put it. See that little blue line is now above that sheet, so it would put them all above it, and it would make the sheet last, or I can put it right here. It's going to put them all below. I'm going to release right there. Then here's all the sheets. I could come in here and change the order of any of the sheets with these order arrows. I can tell it to include bookmarks. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bookmark it here myself in a little bit. And you can do all kinds of stuff with the layers and all other properties and things. We're just going to go with the defaults and drop it in. All right, look at that. We got the whole sheet set in there and combined into one PDF. So now I've got a 14-page PDF ready to go. Pretty cool. We can do a save as now that I got it in this state. I don't want to save it on that one. That would rewrite that original one-pager. Let me save as real quick. We will put that, I'll put it in this little set folder. I'll call this one set demo. There we go. So there's our drawing set, and we're off. Let's show you these bookmarks. All right, so our bookmark right here comes in, and I can delete it. It's got one bookmark that came in on the first sheet, and then right now I've got no bookmarks. So I can come back and add bookmarks. This is part of that, you know, having an organized document set. So this kind of gives you that dynamic table of contents index here when we put those in. This will add them in all with their page labels, and it'll add in all the bookmarks for every sheet. I can hit OK, and then boom, they'll all come in. And then I can navigate from sheet to sheet quickly right here. You can make more bookmarks. You can make, you know, children. So you can make a smaller priority level there. You can, you know, do things like zoom in to a certain spot, and you can make that, update that to that current view. So now I've got some bookmarks, you know, sheet one, zoom in on that one and click on that one. That's the one that's zoomed in. And, you know, you could call that, you know, whatever, point of interest. And you can have various points of interest or whatever all lined up on your different sheets. You can go through, they're all considered page number one right now. So you can go through, do this kind of thing to keep them organized with all their page numbers, sheet numbers, 1, 2, 3, etc. And then you've got these dynamic hyperlinks here for a bookmark, and you can make all kinds of custom ones like this, where they're zoomed in on certain things, or that they would hyperlink to certain things. You could hyperlink them into images or something that you might have attached, and have all of that stuff dialed in, ready to go. Really cool way to keep it all organized. Let's jump in and look at some markups. Right. And let me see, I might switch my profile. Part of Bluebeam, we can have different profiles ready to go for different types of issues. See, right now it's on that quantity takeoff profile. I can quickly move that over to a different one. And I still have all of my commands. It just changes the organization, the structure of all of it, and kind of the presets of where all the tool chests are, all the tools in these little presets. And I can play around with it. All right, here's some of the stuff I wanted to demo. We can have different markups for different disciplines. You know, these can be whatever you want. This is all very customizable. This is just a general color coding for architect, contractor, engineer. And, you know, you could make that where if you're collaborating with the architect and you're the engineer, that, you know, they're going to get assigned the red color for their comments. You're going to get assigned the blue color for your comments, and you guys collaborate together on the project. Or these could be, you know, the issues that you want to request information on, or you want to request that they correct, you know, to the architect, and then that way they can see it. You put it on the red, you know, of course, work either way. We can, you know, put red here. We can say we want to know that area, that wall. Can put a little text call out here. Oh, ugly text call out. Didn't stretch for me. Let me see if I can find my grip. No, we're gonna scratch that one and do it again. There we go, much better. So smart leaders come out of it with a nice arrowhead. You know, you can change everything. It's customizable, so you can change that kind of arrowhead to be whatever I want. You got dots, you got open arrows, you got closed arrows. You can go in there and text, you know, verify thickness of wall and location, looks different than, phone discussion, whatever. Making it up. So you can put your note in there. Looks a little funky. Let me drag it out there. There we go. Put that arrow a little nicer. There we go. And so you got a little call out going with your stuff there. With these, you can go, on the engineer, we can switch colors over here. Maybe I'll do a construction cloud call out. And maybe this one here. Draw a little construction cloud around. Go like that. It automatically makes that construction cloud look. And then put my text call out over here. Verify does not interfere with door. Sorry, it may not be the best spelling. Maybe I nailed that right. No, I definitely didn't get that spelling right. That's way too many E's. But okay, if I was spelling paid $1 million a year, I'd be the best speller on the planet, I promise you. All right, but it doesn't really matter. All right, we got the little call out there. That's for the engineer to verify that that's not in there. And so we could look in our markups list now, and we can see all the markups that have been happening. A lot of this text that came in from AutoCAD. But we can look at, here's all the ones that I made, Alan Bliss. And we can see that that's a comment for the architect. Here's another comment from Alan Bliss. And it's a comment for the engineer. You can see there's all kinds of things, other things available here for us. And I don't know if I'm getting cut off on my bottom. Let me look real quick. View. I don't know if you guys are getting cut off or if it's just me, if it's this presentation thing. I'm gonna assume all right, okay. We have where we can just check it once it's done. You have a little check mark option that you can put in there. You can put in the status, set status, and then whoever is in here setting the status, it's gonna record them, that they're the one that made this status change, and they can say accepted. And then it'll say, it stamps it, it was accepted by Alan Bliss on this time and date. Yeah, it is cutting me off the bottom. It's okay, I'll make do. Can do rejected, rejected, boom. I can say a reason. I can go in here and I can reply, right click on there and reply. None of this has to be in the cloud. This will all just be stored here locally in that PDF file. And so next person who opens the PDF file will see all of these markups and replies and go, that, symbol is embedded, that object for that symbol is embedded, above the ceiling, something like that. There's my superior spelling again. Let me see. Thank you, spell check. Ceiling too, wow. Striking out. There we go. 3 strikes on spelling in this webinar, all right. So I put a reply in right here. You can see that little reply indicator. So you can have a nice note, and a nice dialogue going back, and people can be replying back and forth. It'll say who wrote the reply at what time, and it'll say what's going on. If someone can reply back to that and go like, that's not in the ceiling, that's, hanging down and it's gonna hit the door. And, then you can go back, change that status back to accepted or completed, and so you can keep issues logged that way on each individual markup. So really cool, really powerful tool to keep everything organized in that process. Of course, this can be used going back and forth from the field to the office. And I'll show you how we can use this kind of thing when we're up in the cloud as well for that field to office type thing. But of course, you can use those field to office communications just on that regular PDF as well. So whether you're emailing that back and forth, have that PDF saved on a Dropbox or on a network drive, that kind of thing, these communication parts are embedded in the PDF, whether they're in the Bluebeam cloud or not. You're always going to have this feature, which is really cool and really powerful. All right. We talked a little bit about the tool chest. All right, so you can have these various tools ready to go of various, colors and all of that kind of thing, and have a predefined standard for all of your team, for all of your office. Like, our comments to the architect are going to be in red. Our comments to the engineer are going to be in blue, or, whatever you want. But you can organize it exactly how you want it so it meets your standard and you have a color and it's really easy to get it. You could do also further customizations. I'll demo one right now. Let's say it's blue with a font color. My font's getting cut off because my resolution changed. Everything's a little different once I'm sharing my screen, so my apologies. There's 4 or 5 different ways to get into everything in Bluebeam, though. Do not fret. We'll go into it over here. Let's say, if it's red text on a blue, that means something else. Let's say that's a note to the field. That kind of a setup. All right, let me put my tool chest on. I can put this now, a red text blue markup. See, I don't have that right now. I have a black text blue markup. So I can add that to my tool chest. Engineer, let's put it in there. And so there it is. That's the one I just added. It has 2 different modes. So I can click on it like that, and it'll actually put that same comment in. Or, so if you ever have an exact comment like this that you want, that's typical that you're going to use all the time, you can have it in that mode like I just showed you. Or more likely, you're going to want it like this, so you can, do another one. Boom, and here we go, and then watch. It's red text. Oh my goodness. I knew it would do it. So proud of you, Bluebeam. So right here, you can see it, a red text, and then a black text. So we can customize those kind of markups that we would use. It doesn't just have to be a text and a call out. You could customize anything. Let's say you have a symbol, whatever, you got this symbol right here with the red. Let's say I want to modify it. We can modify any of these kind of symbols too. They're like, an AutoCAD or whatever we call them, blocks. They're called grouped. They're grouped up. It's just a bunch of line work grouped up. And Bluebeam, you can ungroup it, and then it kind of explodes it. Now it's just a bunch of lines. I can add another line to it. Let's say I want an X over this, and then that's going to be a different kind of symbol. Now that's the one I want. Go back in here, group it, back up. It's got to be a group. Cool group. And then I can throw that in my engineer review too, in that tool chest. Just boom, and add to tool chest, engineer review. Boom, now it's over here too. So there's the one I just made. So it could be anything you want. You can add anything you want. If you have, a picture of Pee Wee Herman and you like to put that in all of your drawings, you can put that in your tool chest too. So it's just ready to click on and drop in wherever you want to click it. So fully customizable, can be anything you want. Can be line work, can be these smart little text call outs, can be a static text note that you use all the time, can be an image, and can be anything you want. And we can build out our tool chest with those. So really powerful way to build up these markup tool chests. Let's look at some cloud. Let's go there. Awesome. So there's 2 parts to our cloud. That's in a session. Let me back it up a step, getting too excited. There we go. 2 parts to our cloud. We have our projects and we have our live studio sessions. And you can see that has an icon of a whiteboard, little roll-away whiteboard. And that's really what it's used for and used like. That's that collaborative piece where everybody is live on there at the same time, very similar to like a Zoom whiteboard, and they can all make their markups. But they get to use all of their cool markups like this. You don't get that stuff in Zoom. We can use all this cool stuff when we're in, because we're still in Bluebeam. All right, so we're gonna go up to the live studio session. I'm gonna make a new one, show you how quick and easy it is. Make a new session. We'll call it our MEP demo. This is where you can add in all of your emails or add in all your files directly right here. And then the next screen will be where we add in our emails. You can set the permissions. Hey, people can add documents. No, they can't. You know, they can print. No, they can't. You can set all of that kind of stuff up, make it where they can't save. If it's something that's super sensitive and you've got, you know, collaborating with other people that you don't want running away with your PDF at this state or printing it out or anything, you can turn all those permissions off so they can't do it. You can also set the session to expire at a certain date in time. So this is really good when you're live on a call, when we're in there. And it's also really good if you want to give it to a team and say, here is our, so here's the session, it's coming up. This is where we can put in the emails, or you can have groups already established and all that, and use them from an address book, click, 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 invite those people in. All right, I'm not going to invite anybody in. I'm just going to make it a one-man session for my demo. All right. And then I'm going to close this set demo that was running locally so we don't get confused. I'm going to close that and save that. All right, so I got no drawings open in my PDF session. All right, I'm going to add that one that we were just in. I'm going to upload it to the cloud. Just click right there. You got a document. Here's my folder. I put it in that set folder. Set demo is the one we were just playing with. Takes just a second to load. And then you'll see everything that happens in the session will get recorded here in this record. And that record also serves as a chat. Hello, you know, how is everyone today? You know, so this also works as a chat, and it will record every comment, every markup someone does, every measurement someone does, like everything that's they're adding to the drawing is also going to get logged right here, you know, in this little transcript record. So really cool. Let's look through. So here is that PDF, and you can see this isn't running locally from my C drive anymore. This is up in the cloud, and it's real snappy. You won't be able to tell that it's not, you know, running local because it kind of caches it and makes sure that everything's real snappy. When you're in the cloud environment, there's no lag, there's no delay, other than your original upload and any kind of download time. You know, that's going to take whatever your internet speed is, but everything else, it like locally caches everything, and you can, and it will catch up if your internet speed's not where it needs to be, or if you lose internet even, it's not going to lag at all. You're going to stay connected into your PDF because it hasn't stored, you know, cached locally. This whole software is designed to be going in and out of the field. It's all designed around where you're not going to have Wi-Fi. Your hotspot's going to go in and out. Maybe you're out, you know, really in the boonies in the field on a construction site and there's no cell phone service out there at all. It's all designed for that kind of situation. So it'll save all of your work and markups that you're doing out in the field. And then as soon as you get, you know, back to an internet connection, it's going to get caught up and sync everything back up. All right. So we're back in there. All right. Here's our studio session. I was showing you that the whole PDF got in there. We had all of those sheets uploaded in. Everything moves real fast and real snappy. There's those markups we did in it earlier. You know, we could add more markups now that we're in the live session. And so we can be on a live Zoom call with our team of architects and engineers and contractors and everything. And we can be like, well, you guys, what do you think about this issue? And have people start making markups there in real time. And they can start, you know, putting their markups in real time for whatever is what they need. So you'll see that added highlighter markup go right there in the record. And as well, it's going to go here in my markups list. And for that, you know, you can also put in replies, set the status, you know, completed, you know, whatever. And then you'll see all of that kind of stuff. This is all a live session, and it'll all update live for everybody. So really good for a live Teams call. Really good to say, everybody put your markups in by Friday. You know, this is going to be open until Friday at noon. Put your comments in or forever hold your peace. We're going to build it. You know, you can leave it open for that kind of thing. And this is the one that everybody can collaborate in. That differs over here on the other kind of cloud piece that we have in Bluebeam. That's our project. So our Bluebeam projects versus our live studio sessions Projects are more like the vault, over on Autodesk. They're that check-in, check-out system. I don't know if you got ProjectWise or something like that. So no live syncing going on. You check in and you check out. Just as quick to make a new project. Call this MEP demo. All right. And then you can add in folders over here. We get a whole structure that we can put in here. So it can, very similar to like a Dropbox type feel. You can put in all the folders you want. You can put in all the files you want. You're not limited to just PDFs. You can put in your PowerPoints. You can put in your docs, your Excel. You can put in your DWG. All of it can go in here and be stored in here as one central repository. Of course, PDFs are going to give you, the most bang for the buck because we can open PDFs and deal with those. But as far as storing the files, no problem. You can store anything you want in here. Pretty cool. I'm going to add my demo set in here as well. And so you can see kind of some of those check-in, check-out features when we're over here on our project. So this is kind of for that central long-term archiving of, each document set. So you can have your MEP set, your architecture set here, your structure set here, or have those all in folders. And then, when you get updates, real simply can, go in, open those. So I'm in there right now. Right now it's locked. It's read only. I can check it out. I go ahead and check it out. Right now it's checked out, and I can make edits to it now. And those will save and things can happen. Let's say, like right about there, let's do a comment. Boom. Let's say right here. Typing, not too many space after period. Some kind of comment. All right, and then I can check that back in. Check in, and then I should have put a little comment there that I made some comments in that revision history. But so now I can go in there, I can see my revision history. And every time you check in, check something out, it's going to show here in the revision history, the really cool revision history feature that it has here. And then you can restore that version, or you can just open that old version to take a look at it, or you can restore that and make that the current version. So you can always go back and rev it back to the original version or back a few versions ago. But every time someone checks it in and checks it out, it's going to have a version history here, which is really good. If you're getting updated sheets, you can quickly slip those sheets in, doing a similar thing like I did, drag and drop those sheets in, and then, check it out, drag and drop the new sheets in if those two sheets got updated, and then save it and check it back in. And then you can be like, I updated sheets 2 and 3, and then that's what's in the, revision history. So you never lose anything with this. It's going to keep a revision history of everything. What's really cool about the cloud is you don't have to worry about storage. I mean, there are technically limits, but they're like, and you can quote me on this, they're 1 million gazillion files at 1 million gazillion gigabytes. No, I don't know exactly, don't quote me, but it is something like that for real. It's like really big number. It's like you can have like, man, I don't know the number. It's like, you can have like 500 folders or something, and then they can have 10,000 files, and then, each file can be, 10 gigabytes, or I don't know, it's something like that. There are limits to keep, people from, taking advantage of it and figuring out how to like mine Bitcoin on it or something and store all that stuff there. So that way the, servers don't get bogged down. But, it's really like, you're not going to hit those kind of limits, even with a huge, a huge need of storage. You're not going to hit any of those limits. So it's really, really cool. You don't have to worry about storage. You don't have to worry about storage of all those revisions. And it'll just nicely keep those all organized in there. Really cool, really sweet. Let's see. Let's talk more about, probably more in the live session. Let's look more of an instance of the field to office, going from the field to office. That's a project. Let me go to the session. All right, so I'm back in my live studio session. And then I clicked on that PDF. You can also here, you can add as many documents as you want. I just have one right now, but you can keep adding more documents so that way people can see them. They don't have to be PDFs. You can add in, Word docs and that kind of thing. You're not going to have the markup capability, but you can have them there for reference, if you needed reference documents in there. But of course, you could go in and mark up any PDFs. All right. So let's say we have, we're out in the field, and let's get on to another. We've been looking at that one for a while. Take a look at this. All right. Oh, maybe I got. And then I'll go here and we'll look at our field issues profile just to show you. And we're back. The review, when I switch profiles, sometimes just the window needs to refresh. And so I think it's my hardware. Where's my tool chest? There you are. Okay, so here's on the field issues profile. I've got a lot of, on that one, little punch keys ready to go. So here's some electrical, here's some construction paint ones, plumbing. Yeah, let's look through. I think I have some plumbing sheets in here. HVAC. There's some plumbing, so we can go in here and we can go, okay, I'm in the field, got a leaky faucet, field leaky faucet. And then there we go, just that quick, I can go through and I know these punch list codes. You can build these out, customize, just like I was showing you how to build those custom markups. Just take them out, regroup them, put in different text for different text codes. So you can fully customize these. Bluebeam's website also has a huge amount of these, just like as templates that you can download and put into your Bluebeam. So you don't have to just go with these out of the box ones. There's thousands and thousands, of little blocks and punch keys and stuff that you can play with and build out your tool chests with on their website that are available for free. And they're really easy to customize as well. So you can customize these to be any letters you want, have any description you want. All right, let's look for those. Now that I put those in, those leaky faucets. Let me try. There we are, leaky faucet right there in the markup list. And so I can see that in here, and I can, put in a status, if I'm the person who's gonna call, boom, accepted, and I can say, reply, called, contractor will be there Tuesday, whatever, I don't know. No, I know I spelled that right. You're not giving me a strikeout. Capitalization doesn't count for spelling, all right. Whatever, you can put in kind of notes, and whether you're in the field that much or it doesn't, and you're dealing with the construction or not, if you're, just dealing with design issues, it's all the same concept. You can use this communication going back and forth on all of those kinds of things. Pictures might be real handy in these kinds of instances, and you can quickly just go to any markup and you can do a capture. And from right here, you can add in a picture. You can take it directly from your camera on your device. That's what that option is that you're looking at right there. So even if you have a laptop, you can turn that thing around, and that built-in camera, boom, and it just puts it right in. That picture will be attached. You can attach from a file. If you're on any of our apps, we have, with your license, you get a free, there's free downloads on apps for your iPhone, your Android, your iPad. You can take it with that built-in camera, and really slick. You can always add in from file if you already have these pictures from a separate digital camera or separate device, or you just have those pictures coming from someone else out in the field, add them in from a file. You can add in pictures, you can add in video, and you can add in 3D, or not 3D, 360 images. So if you have that capability of making 360 images, you can add those in and just attach them as a capture. So you just click in there and then you see the image of what the issue is. So really cool that you can add that into the markup, and really slick for your field to office communication. Very cool. So punch list and all of that. So, and then you can do this on a regular PDF, local, all of these features. So if that PDF is just saved on your C drive and you're emailing it back and forth, you can do all this same work on there. It's going to embed and save all those images and everything into the PDF. If you're in the live studio session like I am, you don't have to worry about sending that stuff back and forth. Just everybody's in this live studio session, everybody's adding their comments, their punch list, they're hitting reply. Everybody's seeing all this stuff real time when they're in that studio session. They can go in here and they can look in the record and they can see that, you know, so-and-so was out to work in the field. They added all these comments and they added, you know, this plumbing stuff and this person made a reply. So really cool when you're in the live session to just see everything getting resolved on something. And then, you know, to keep these from getting too big, you can just have this live session open for, you know, a week. And then when it's all done, you know, close it and then save that PDF out and then log it, you know, save it somewhere and go, that was, you know, second week of November's field to office on the lab that we're building, you know, this lab project. And then, you know, you have week 3, you know, open up a new session for that. And then you have all the comments going back and forth to the field in week 3, you know, and so, and lots of things you can do. And then, yeah, when you close the studio session, you can take this and download this PDF out with all of this stuff logged into it. So really cool. I want to show you another cool thing that really will help with the office to field stuff, and that is coming right up. I'm over here on my folder on my other monitor. That is these 3D PDFs. 3D PDFs. Blowing my mind up. Give those a second to load. So this is a PDF. This isn't the Revit model. It's made from the Revit model, but it's not. I'm not in Revit. I'm in my PDF app. I'm in Bluebeam still. So really cool. If I have a 3D PDF, 3D model, rather than looking at the individual construction sheets, I can walk through and I could be like, okay, I got my electrical wiring exposed, you know, electrical issue, electrical wiring exposed there, electrical wiring exposed there, you know, whatever. And I can start going through my 3D walkthrough and I can get right on that particular wall. I don't have to worry about, you know, which perspective, how do I mark this up? You know, it's a plan view is the only thing I have there. Much easier and much more interactive having this kind of functionality. I think, let's go to this one next. Yeah, so that's one way. You can just have the straight up model, like kind of on a PDF, like a print from that model space. This one, you can have the sheet view and we can do 3D viewports in it. So this is a 3D viewport of that kitchen. So you got the elevation right here. But if I've got to make a comment on that island, you know, that's going to be a difficult, you know, thing to communicate back and forth in the field. But look at this, I can go in here, get on there, put my comment in, you know, whatever, touch up the paint, electrical, missing faceplate, you know, whatever, wiring exposed, put all of those in and, you know, shoot, I just hit escape. I'm big time Civil 3D and AutoCAD user, so I get on autopilot and then I hit escape and whatever. So let me put a couple of these on there. Touch up paint, okay, so there we go. Got that one. Put in one more, you know, with a call out. Hole too big, needs drywall help to, you know, I don't know, something. And then add an image into it, you know, so whatever it is, we can add all of those kind of comments in. And then those are all going to get stored into our markup list. And if you go to your markup list, that's always a quick way to just quickly zoom in on that issue. And even if I rotate away up here on my viewport, I don't know, I might have went a little wild. Don't matter what you do. There we go. There we go. So let's say I rotate over here. No matter where I go, when I click on that particular issue, see, by clicking down here, it made it zoom back up here so that way I can see it. So it'll always save that perspective in that markup. So really cool, really powerful tool. So you can zoom in on those things and see what the issues are. Show you one more. This one's from a Navis model. So it's got the combined, the terrain, the structural, Navisworks model, the architectural, the plumbing, everything's in there. And then the furniture, everything's in there. It's all dialed in real neat. And so you can be walking around inside of this model and playing around in there. And another thing that we can do is we can search through the 3D model tree in our Bluebeam. Can go in there for something like the sink, you know, and then, okay, so there's that sink, and then just the ability to go in and like, I mean, you can imagine how you more clearly you can communicate back and forth the issues in the field. We're talking about that particular thing in the model. I could go right here and put my markup on it. Let's pick up markup, plumbing issue with the text call out, boom, put it right there, you know, custom, binned, not available at shop, you know, back office needs to custom order, you know, whatever, some kind of issue, some kind of comment, and I'm talking about that particular bend on that particular faucet. Like I could get right into the model and like show you rather than just some generic comment that you're putting on a plan view sheet that is going to cause 3 or 4 different phone calls from 3 or 4 different people to actually understand what is going on that particular issue. Just so much, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and like this is demonstrating it right here. So much you can do with these kind of 3D PDFs and going back and forth to the field. And then of course, you know, all of your markups are going to get logged just like they would on a normal 2D PDF, a normal plan view PDF. They're getting logged in there, they're there on your markup list, and very cool and very slick. All right, how are we doing on time? We're getting close to the end of our time. Let's look at some cool things. I'm gonna pop out of these guys, and I'm gonna go back to my set, my document set, and show you a couple cool more features before we go. Here it is, document set demo, okay. So quantity takeoffs, let's talk about that. This is a huge game changer piece that we have right here. We have an ability to search. Of course, you can search through text. That's nothing new, you know, Control F, you can do that on any web page, you can do that in any PDF software, you know, any like basic PDF viewer. Hit Control F and it'll find every instance of that word. We also have where we can search for, that's going to be a bad symbol. I don't like that one. Do another one. How do I clear it? Refine. No. Get rectangle. Let me do it again. Okay, that's better. Because it had that little C in it, and I wanted to catch that C. All right, so let's say that icon, I wanted to find that as many times as it can. Now it's searching through my whole sheet set and all my sheets right here. You can see it, 50% done, 55% done. It's not just searching this page, it's searching the whole PDF document, looking for that symbol. And then here's where it found each one. And then look, as I click on it, it's highlighting them. And so it has this ability, it's searching with an eyeball, the AI-assisted keyword, buzzword AI-assisted search feature where it can use its eye, robotic eye, scan through the document, looking for that. So no like magic sauce where it's like, okay, this is a, you know, that kind of line at a 45-degree angle where it's actually like getting that data like from the AutoCAD like conversion. No, this is using an eyeball and it goes, okay, that little thing that you showed me, I'm going to tell you every other time I see that thing. And so we told it that thing visually, and then it went through and it found it. So really cool, really powerful thing for doing your quantity takeoffs. Because look right here, there's a built-in workflow. I can hit select all, and then I can apply those two counts for measurement. I tell it what icon I want when it's doing a counter. Put my check mark, and then look, every time it sees that icon, it's putting a check mark on it. I could go here to my markups. All of the quantity takeoffs just come in as markups. And then look right here, here's that count measurement, 34. Really cool. And if you haven't seen all the markup tools in Bluebeam, they're very cool. You can do length takeoffs, you can do area takeoffs, and they'll all log right there in your markups list. Let's see if I can do a couple others here before we're out of time. I could go here. When I go to make this length takeoff, it's probably going to ask me to set the scale. So there's the length. I think that's about right, a 1/16 inch to 1 foot architect scale for these drawings. So I'll do that. Say it's a 22-foot wall. So it does the automatic measuring of the item. This particular measurement has that label in it, framing, steel, whatever. Let's say that's some kind of issue that we need involved in. Let's say it's like a wall barrier, something. Let me change that. I thought I changed it. I'll try again. Wall. Doesn't like changing it there. No problem. We'll change it in another spot. We'll change it right there. Label. 20 different ways you can change it. So we'll change it that way. There we go. So now if I'm going to do a bunch of these wall barrier callouts, I can say, add this to one of my, let's say, mechanical tool chest. Add that to mechanical, and then right there, it pops in there. Put it in that properties mode so that way I can execute it again and again. Click here, and so now I can do that rinse and repeat over and over and get my quantity takeoffs. The area function works the same way. You can get square footage takeoffs. You can get counts. You can get linear. And so here it is. Here's all of my lengths. They're all adding up right here. So very cool, very slick ability to get those quantity takeoffs going in. You can export all of your markups to Excel with your quantity takeoffs. So these can quickly be brought out to Excel. You take those out in CSV, and then you can plug those in with your Excel skills to put pricing together. You know, if you've got, lines of conduit, you've got your quantity markers on all of your, whatever, your AC vents, you got all your linear feet counted with your ductwork. You can put a price to every one of those things. You can have cost estimates like in a snap using all of your Excel skills combined with the output that you can take here with these kind of tools to get square footage, linear measurements. You could get volume measurements for anything three-dimensional, and you can get quantity counts all smartly and all like richly, dynamically automated, so that way you don't have to rinse and repeat a lot of these tasks. This counter thing is just awesome. Let's see, what else can I tell you in just a couple seconds, couple minutes? I covered almost everything. Let me show you one other cool thing that, before we go, I'll show you one more last thing. Okay. We have I think that's a different count. Let me see if that guy. Let's say for these markups, let's do it for those. I did those in review. Let's switch my generic back real quick. And my tool chest. And here we go. Okay, so let's say, we talked about making that icon and stuff, the engineer review, and then we also did some architect review here. You can make these smart legends, which are really cool QA QC tool. There we go. So there's that engineer review legend, and then it lets you know there was 2 text callouts, and there was 3 of whatever this thing was, this little icon. Let's go to the architect. I'll make one over there too. So you can make a smart legend for that. And then it's got that highlight callout, and it's got that markup there. These are dynamic. So if I make more markups, it ends up increasing the count. If I make a different kind of markup, see, like right now I don't have any blue highlights. You know, if I make a blue highlight right there, whatever, 1 blue highlight. So it's going to add all of those either quantity takeoffs or markups right there, and it will keep a dynamic count of all of them. And that's just an amazing tool that you can use for going back and forth from engineer or senior project manager down to the drafter or designer. If I've got, you know, 4 red lines, you know, on this issue, did I do 4, you know, pieces of work, you know, in the drawing or in the model? And then, yes, I did. Like just that QA, QC, you know, then when you're back checking your work, when you get it back from the drafter, you're like, okay, did my drafter, I told him to do these 4 things, you know, those 2 text callouts, and then that 1 highlight, like, are those 7 things addressed? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can see it real quick. So a real cool just thing that you can use for QA, QC, as well as you can use it, you know, just to have a nice legend, and you can build a cool quality legend for all of your symbols that you're putting in as well. If you're using like these kind of symbols you're seeing here in red, just to have a cool legend and how many counts there are of it. So very nice, very cool function available to you. And we talked about those kind of organizing features and everything. I'll leave you with this one last feature. We have an ability to see our layers on every drawing as well. So you have layers, and you can turn your layers on and off. So you can visually turn things on and off. I think the layers didn't come through right on this particular sheet. Bad demo. But those in your AutoCAD, in your Revit, there's a toggle where you put those layer controls in, and you can opt, you know, on the AutoCAD Revit level to have the layers come in on the Bluebeam side, and you'll have layer control available to you. So that way, if someone can just freeze a layer real quick in the PDF, that a lot of the time just helps make a drawing ready to be presentable, rather than having to send it back and forth for another round of markups and revisions. So lots of things to help automate and save the time in here. I am going to wrap us up and open us up for any questions, but thank you guys so much for watching my demo here today on just Bluebeam helping with a lot of MEP workflows. Thank you.